Welcome to this video. It's a crazy video. Yeah, and, I have a video on Friday. I've never done a video on Friday before, but I had to go to the DMV with my parents because they signed over the title for my car. So now it's officially my car. And so I was in Gulf Breeze, which is where the DMV is, and Pensacola is only like another 30 minutes away. So I decided to go to Pensacola today and go to the library there to do a video. And I came here and I was like, why don't I make a video? And so today I'm making a video. You guys get an extra video for today. And so this video is unscripted. I don't have anything to talk about or anything, but what I really want to talk about, this is the second take for this video. So I've already had a little bit of a 10-minute video for this. And so what we're going to talk about is my school community. And so I got trapped by Alex Hormonzi. And you've been seeing all the ads for the school communities and the school games. And while I decided to do it, it's $99 a month after the free 15-day trial or something like that. And so that's a steep investment for me, but I want to do it. Um, and so the school community is the it's about mastering more skills. It's about self-improvement or improving your skills in life. So you have a better life. So that's why I call it the Mastery Guild. And I decided to do the community because I really want to do a community around all my interest in you guys and around mastery and around that ideal of mastery. And however, there's not really one tool that I found where I can incorporate everything into it until school. Um, and I really thought hard about should I do it? And so I've decided to do the school community. In the beginning, it will be free for the first, I think, 100 members. I'm going to do 100 members. That's an arbitrary number. I might do the first 1,000 or 500 members. And after I've decided after that, I'm going to have the membership's going to cost $10 a month, but all the people who sign up first for the free membership will get it for free. They're going to be grandfathered into the membership. But I decided to charge for the community after a while because of a couple reasons. One, it gatekeeps the community, so people who aren't, active on it, they're not going to be they're people are going to be more active on the community because they're spending $10 a month. And number two, and it keeps the amount of members low because not everyone is willing to pay $10 for a community. And I understand that. And there's no rush to go into this community. But I'm going to be doing this $10 a month, but also for another reason. I'm going to reinvest all the money I get back into the community. And so it's $99 a month. So the first 10 paying members will pay for my community, and then any of the extra money I make will go back into the community. And then I can like hire a famous person or have someone who's better than me at like whatever skill that you guys want to know, come down and do like a Q&A with me, or and I can get questions from you guys in that school group. I am going to be doing calls for like an hour a day in my car or whatever. Well, I'll be moving, so I won't have to worry about that. And so I'll be doing calls once a week for 2 hours, I think, an hour, 2 hours. I don't know. I might do it twice a week. I gotta see my time schedule because this is all up to change. I will have to mention that it's all up to change if I don't find an apartment pretty fast and I'm living out of my car. There might be some schedule change, but pretty much I'm gonna do recording calls on there so you guys can like call in or whatever, or do Zoom meetings, something like that. I haven't looked at it correctly, and I can do like a ton of courses on there, and so I might have some specific courses that are free for members that have um nothing to do with or that are like specifically for the school community. So I might have some courses that I don't post on YouTube and they're specifically for school. And of course, I'll probably do some courses on YouTube for, that has no barrier of entry, so you don't have to become a member. You can just go in. And I'm going to do that for the free version too. So that's a project of mine. That's another major project for the next, so now I have five major projects. But the school community, I'm going to be building that up. So in the beginning, right now it's in the beginning, so it has nothing on it bare bones everything. I haven't even set up the profile picture and all that stuff, and no description. But if you guys want to see it, I'll link it in the description for the video. Maybe I might do the description today and the picture, the I'll probably do like an AI generated picture or black thing with a logo or something like that for the mm, guild, for the Mastery Guild community. So I might do that, but it's all bare bones. And I don't want to charge people for something that's completely bare bones too, and that provides no value for someone. And so this community, I want to build it up to 100 members before I start charging, because by then I think the value of the community will be worth it. And I think I'll have more content built up into the system, into Skool, for it to be worth it. And so I don't plan on trying to become, number one in the school games or being on the leaderboard for the school games yet. And if you don't know what that's the school leaderboard. So it's by Alex Hormonzi. He runs it or whatever. And the people who get the most subscriber or most members per month, growing members. So it's every month it resets. How many members you got for that month? Whoever has the highest growing member rates or whatever gets to be flown out to Las Vegas, I think. Yeah, Las Vegas. And they get to meet Hormozy and they do training together and they find out what the training's like, how did they grow their communities, how each of these people grew their community. And it's like the top 10, I think. And then the top three get something like that. I haven't really looked at it. I'm not doing it for the school games or anything, but I'm doing it just to build a community. And that's a long-term game. And another thing you got to realize is also all that money will be back into the community. And the reason I did that is because for a community, the value is not in the money you can take out of it. The value is in the community and the attention you get and the power you have by having 10,000 members in a community. Because what you got to realize is you can sell, let's say my community is $10 a month. I can sell, maybe I have 1,000 members. That's what? That's $10,000. $10 times 1,000 is 10,000. So $10,000 a month. What you got to realize for that um, is this. That's only $100,000 a year. And maybe let's say I charge $50 or $100 or whatever. I don't think I have a very good value proposition where I can charge 500 or $1,000 for a community, but I can charge maybe 100, $200 a month. And what you got to realize with that is even with that money, it's small change. It's small. It's not a lot of money. The money I want to be making is in the millions of dollars. And and with a community, that's run a community just to fund your lifestyle to make 100K a year, maybe make up to $1 million a year, $2 million a year. That's possible. And I would recommend it. But I'm going into business. And if I build a business up good enough, then I can sell it for $10 million. And what you gotta also realize is I want to buy more businesses. And $1 million max isn't much in business terms. Beginner businesses or it's really small businesses that can't grow. So it's like the restaurants and everything. Restaurants are really hard to scale. You can only have one restaurant. Maybe you can franchise to other restaurants and maybe you can have five restaurants and that's the max. It's really hard to scale restaurants and because there's no value add that you can do. There's only so much you can add to the value. You can only make the food so good. And then maybe you can brand yourself as a really good restaurant and then have like a 3-star Michelin or 5-star restaurant or whatever that's rated 5 stars or something like that. But then you're still only going to make so much money. Like you could do a really fancy restaurant, but you're only going to make so much money from it. And so that's why most restaurants are undervalued. So there's a ton of competition, but I don't want to get into that. But it's the thing is like I'm not going to pull out of that money out of that community when that community would better serve me because the community is for lead generation. And so, for example, people see my community and they like it and they join and they love being in my community and they get to know me. So now they trust me more and they're more willing to hire me as a bookkeeper than just the random Joe Smo on the internet, or the random person that's next to them who calls them up and says, I can do bookkeeping. They'd much rather hire me to do it because they trust me. They know me more. They're more familiar with me. And that's the thing with marketing. Marketing is to get someone familiar with you so they trust you enough to at least consider the option of buying from you. And so, that think about Coca-Cola. You've seen so many ads from Coca-Cola that you trust the brand subconsciously. Yeah. Now, you might say, I don't trust them, they're bad drinks or whatever, but you're never going to think they're going to poison you. Most people don't. Now, there are some people who are, but most people are not going to do that because the market trust, let's say there's two different brands. There's the Walmart Coca-Cola and then there's the actual Coca-Cola. You're more likely to trust Coca-Cola because you've seen more ads to it. It's more familiar to you. It's a brand. And so that's the thing with my community. It's not to make money off of you guys. The $10 a month after the first 100 members is to really cover the cost of having the community, but also build up the community with that money and having like a money pool and everything. So I'm going to be as transparent as possible with where that money is going to for the Skool community. And that's a long-term game, the Skool community. I can afford $99 a month. I can afford that for an investment in building a community. I think it's and the $99 is pretty cheap compared to what you would have to spend if you're doing like a Facebook group or something like that. It has all the features for community building and it's built into it. It's not like Facebook, which has Facebook groups or whatever. And also they don't charge, 10% of your revenue or something like that, like Patreon would do. I could build a community around Patreon, but they charge a percent of your profits. And so School only costs $99 a month, which I think is very valuable for it. Now, of course, I don't make a lot of money right now, so it's really hard for me. And in the beginning, I'd rather do the revenue sharing, but later on, I wouldn't because then that's taking out 10% of the pool of money that you guys have to the community. And so that would cut off parts of it going to the company. So I prefer the $99, but I have started that. So the Skool community is the Mastery Guild. Ugh, I chose the Mastery Guild. I'm not good with names, so I used AI to help me do it. And it asked me what are some of the topics you want and everything on it. What I really want this community about, so let's get into the actual community, is Guild Mastery is for me, it's all about mastering something. It's improving at your own skills. And it's not just improving for the sake of improving. You want to improve your skills in life, the different skills in life, so you can better your life. And then you get to a point where you're better than majority of people, and then you provide value to society with those skills, and you get paid more. Or you can work for a business on your own business, make even more, or you can just do it one specialization. So maybe you're really good at sales. You master sales after over 10 years, you master sales, and then you make like 300,000, $500,000 on commission every year because you're one of the best. However, that's not the total profit you would have made if you're also doing the marketing and delivering the product and all that stuff. So job, but maybe you want to do a business where you have to learn all these different skills, and in turn, you make a bigger profit. You make more of the pie. You eat more of the pie that is the profit instead of only your job and you're doing one specific thing every day. Whatever it is, this is about mastery, mastering a skill, and that allows you to better your life. And in the internet age, you can reach 7 billion people. 7 billion people. Out of those 7 billion people, you can get 0.001% to buy something from you or, have them need a service from you. So for me, I just need to get 0.001 of the people on the internet who have a business who need bookkeeping. Okay. And even less than that. And so the internet allows you to do any niche. You could do arcade games, video games, you could do tabletop games. That's just in games. You could talk about insurance and doing insurance for people or anything like that. And so the internet enables that for you. And so I want you guys, I think the best way to improve you guys' life, because that's the goal, is for me to help improve your life. If I can bring value to help improve your life, then this channel has done its purpose for having you guys watch it. If it was just to document my life, I would just record the videos and keep them on private. But I show these videos to the world for personal branding, but also to help you guys. I just have to make these videos, and I'm always going to make these videos, so why not make them public? I could make them private, but why not make them public and provide value for you guys? And so that's my reason for posting these videos. If I can help you better your life, then that's the value proposition for my channel. Then I've helped you. And so the Skool community is about mastery. And so it could be about different skills or whatever, because I have different skills. I have different things that interest me. And the skills you want to learn are the things that interest you. And because any skill in today's age can provide value for you. Okay, that's what you got to realize. In the age of social media, you can do anything, and if someone finds it entertaining or persuasive or any of those stuff, then you provided value to that person. And if you have a large enough audience, and maybe 10,000 people max, maybe 1,000 people who are loyal to you and really like what you're doing, then they'll pay a little bit. And that's enough to fund your lifestyle. Now, if you want to make millions and billions, do it. But if you just want to do a specific hobby, let's say um, tapestry. So let's say you liked, or let's say not tapestry. Let's say basket weaving. My mom always makes fun of basket weaving majors in college. Like they used to have basket weaving majors in college. Let's say you're really good at basket weaving and you like making different baskets. Not for me, but maybe not for you, but there's enough people on the internet that would like that there's enough of a niche for it. And all you do is you learn how to do that. Or maybe you already know about um, basket weaving. And so what you do is you just do videos on how to do everything, or the process of learning basket weaving, whichever one. Those are the two options of that. And people will eventually come and see your content. Now, it might take a while for you to build up a community around that, but then you have that. And so then you can monetize it. And, it's not a lot to monetize loyal fans, and that's enough to fund a lifestyle. 100K a year, maybe less, maybe like 30K a year, 50K a year. How much would your life change if you made an extra 30K a year, 50K a year? If you're at the bottom of society, that would completely change your life. If you're working in Whataburger, like I was, fast food, I don't have anything against the people, but this is the opportunity for yourself. And so the Mastery Guild, is to help you be motivated for that, to hold you accountable for that. And it could be any different stuff. Now, of course, in the beginning, the topics with me are going to be about leadership, speaking skills, the soft skills, but it's also going to be about business. It's going to be about writing and the artistic stuff. So music and art and writing, writing novels, writing stories, storytelling. And it could be all of those. And so it's going to be all those because those are my interests. And maybe it'll also be about geographic stuff and political history or politics or history. Like those are all, and so you guys can come in on that, and you guys can start doing your own thing too. You guys can build a community in it where we have 1,000 members, and maybe 100 of them like chess a lot. So you guys build your own community in our community that's about chess, and it's about mastering chess. And so that's what you guys have to realize. That's the value proposition. That's what the that's what I've thought, because I've have different opinions than most people. But what you got to realize is that is the way to financial freedom in today's market. People always say there's so much competition on social media, on the internet, on YouTube. No, there's not. You can find a niche. Like you just need 1,000 people, 1,000 subscribers on 1,000 followers on social media about the topic that you love, you're learning about, or you love. Do a video about it. You learn more about it. Do what you think about it. Do you like that video? And then, like I said, that's the goal. The goal is to give you guys financial freedom. And to do that, you have to do this long term. And so, like, everyone has some type of hobby. Maybe you don't. Maybe when I worked at Whataburger, it was really hard to do stuff. In the first year, I would just work, come home, and collapse. But maybe you have an extra hour, 2 hours a day. Just write a book, paint something. It could be horrible. My paintings suck. I still haven't shown you guys my paintings. I'm kind of embarrassed. I only have like three of them because I didn't do painting for a while. It sucks. Okay, and my paintings are really, I barely know how to do it, and I don't have an artistic bone in my body. I'm trying to. And it's interesting and therapeutic for me. And it's calming for me. And so I want to provide that path to financial wealth, because $100,000 a year would change your life completely. You could quit your job and just do that hobby every day. Like, wouldn't be that be a fun life? You know, Even if you don't want to go into business and impact the world and make millions, don't have much ambition. What do you want to just stay home all day and do that hobby you love, whether it's tabletop tennis or tabletop games, whether it's video games, it's writing books, art, it's reading, there's something you can do. There's a hobby you do, and you should document your journey on that. And so that's the thing. And also, I'm on that journey to myself because I'm documenting this journey together with you guys, and that money will eventually help me have financial success at work. And my business completely fails after 20 years of trying all the business or whatever, I will have built up a community of you guys which can help me in my lifestyle. And so that's why I recommend starting a community. And with the rise of AI, you have to start a community to sell anything, anything of artistic value, unless you have a community who follows it, and not really the art. The arts is important, but they really follow you for you, a person they get to know that does things that they enjoy, that they get to really be familiar with. That's the reason they buy that for you. It's to partly to support you. It's not the art as much as it is to support you. And I know a lot of artists get mad at that, but I think it's a good thing. That's why and so I just think you should do it and everything. And so that's the thing. That's what this community is going to be about. Now, in the beginning, it's going to be about the topics that I like because honestly, you guys, most of you aren't probably going to be joining, or maybe it only has like 10 members. If they attribute or they contribute something to the community. Maybe they talk about how they like chess, let's say, and how they're doing better in chess and what are the things they're trying to do to improve their chess ability. Then that can be then we can make that a topic in the community. I don't want it all to be about me in the long term. I want to build a community about you guys' interests too. And then we can have different subgroups. And maybe you like one of my interests. Maybe you just like my painting, but you don't care about any of the things else in my community. Then that's okay. Is the $10 worth it? If it's not, you don't have to subscribe. I'm never going to pressure you guys to subscribe. And like I said, the first 100 members are going to be free. I only have 35 subscribers. Let's subscribers. I'm almost, I'm 3/10 of the way to 100. 100 is the next goal. But, I'm only have 35 subscribers. Even if you guys all of my subscribers, that's only 35 people, so this is a long-term game and everything. And so I don't have a big following. But yeah, that's the goal is I'm trying to reach mastery in multiple parts of my life. So 10 years from now, I don't have to worry about anything. I'll be secure financially. I'll be doing the things I love that I'm a master at, you know. And that's part of my personality. I'm an ISTP in the Myers-Briggs scale. And so that's like the artified, I think that's the craftsman or whatever. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't look me up and be like, Tyler, you're wrong or whatever. No. However, I think one of the major parts of my personality is mastery of things. It's growing as a person. That's one of my core drivers as a person is growth. for you, and maybe that's not an ideal for you, and maybe you don't care as much. Then the community isn't right for you because that's what we're going to be talking about, growing on this stuff, what we find enjoyable about these hobbies and everything. You know, we're going to be talking about stories about the hobbies, things you've done, the people you've met with these hobbies, all that stuff and everything. And so I would recommend you join. But that's the ultimate goal of the community is to grow whatever hobby you become a master of whatever hobby you like. And so you do that, and then you become financially stable because of it. And so that's it for the school community. Like I said, I'll do recordings. I want to do recorded phone calls once a week, talk to you guys in person. Hopefully I get my first phone call with someone or do Zoom meetings with people, like whatever type of meeting, online meeting with you guys. Like unless you guys are down by Charlotte or in North Carolina, it's going to be hard to meet you guys. Especially since I don't have a lot of money, so gas would eat up into where I live. Now, if you want to come and travel and, meet me, and if I'm a couple years, I'll have enough fans who are really like want to meet me in real life, then that wouldn't be a problem and I can set that up. But right now I don't have the financials for that. And I don't want to like set up an event and no one show up because I don't have anyone who's ever been a member of my community. And so the community, everything right now is long-term plans for me because honestly, 10 years from now, I'll be all set up. I surpassed the majority of people and I'll probably have some fails and I'll probably business. It might take me a long time. Maybe my paintings still suck. Maybe there's a limit to my paintings. That is the thing. That probably is true. There's probably a limit to my artistic ability, at least painting wise. And I try my hardest for painting, whatever it is. Like as long as you're on the slope forward to whatever hobby you is, I will welcome you. We'll welcome you to my community. And I want to document that proof for you. So maybe 10 years from now I can look back and that can for my group, like, look what happened to me after 10 years or my community, and look what happened to you guys or whatever. And so, if you want to do that, I recommend you join. It's free. Well, why not click it's free to make a school account. Community, it's $99 a month per group. You can have multiple groups. However, that's too fast and everything. It's free for the 100 members forever. Why not sign it up? This might be a failed project, and I just go and put all of my content on YouTube for free, whatever it is. It's up to me. But for the first 100 members, once I have the 100 members, that'll also be motivation for me. Start charging me, and I have to deliver on my services. I don't want people quitting because they're like, it's a scam. You charged me $10 and it wasn't worth it. $10 is way worth it. So in real life, it would be $100. If I charged it at the real value, it's $100 a month. I want to provide that much value. I'm only charging 10, so it's a great offer. And so more people will come and buy it. And I won't have a lot of churn out of the community because I provide so much value for $10 a month. And so I would like to do that. And like I said, all the money from that past the $99 to cover the community costs will be funded back into the community. And so that's all I got for today. Uh, really, that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about my master guild. And so that's it. That's another project I have. That's the fifth project, major projects. I talk about that in the last video. I go recommend it if you want to see. But really, my four major projects right now are YouTube. There's school. You could loop those two together because they're both kind of like social media community building. There's college. There's the business and then there's my novel that I'm going to be writing. And so I haven't got into any of that yet today because I'm making this video first because the library does close early today because they're doing some professional office development today. So it does close at 11:15. It's already 10 o'clock. There's not much people anyway here. Close in like an hour and 15 minutes. And so I really don't have a lot of time, so I got this video done first before I got kicked out of the library, you know? And this will probably be the last time I see the library ever again. I just realized that. It'll be the last time I ever get a study room here, do a video, any of that stuff. If everything goes well, that'll be the last time. This will be the last time. So that's it. This is the last time you'll see this room and everything. Maybe you'll see another study room next week if I haven't found a place to live yet. Or maybe you'll see an actual room for once. And I've been planning out, you know what? We're going to continue with the video. Why not? We're going to continue with the video. So the first part of this video was about my schoolroom. So this is the second part at 30 minutes. And so the second part of the video is going to be about how am I going to set up the setting? What is the perfect setting for my YouTube videos? I'm going to have an actual microphone that's sitting me. I'm going to have a lower table because this is a higher table. So that's why, um, I can't just put a microphone right here because then it would be way too high. And then you would like be looking up at me or whatever. So I can't do that. But when I have an actual place, I'll have a desk. It'll probably be a lot of money, so it'll be a cheap desk and it'll be lower onto the ground, or it'll be higher and I'll have a higher chair, whatever it is, in respect or in relation to where my arms are, they'll be lower. They'll be lower. So I have a top place to put a microphone. I'll have a webcam because I have a webcam, but I don't like using it for videos here in the study room because there's a camera and people might think I'm recording something or whatever. Here, I just do it on the computer. So I'll have an actual webcam that's a pretty good webcam that's eye level and everything. And so that'll be better. I want to have a whiteboard behind me like this one, but it's straight behind me. And then I can just have ideas on the whiteboard and right on the whiteboard. And so once that happens, I'll be able to make videos with a whiteboard here because I can move the webcam around and everything, and I'll be able to edit that in. And so that's what I'll do is that's like the perfect setup for me. And I want to have a book holder. So I want to have a book holder like next to me or whatever. And if you don't know what a book holder is, I didn't even know this existed. You know how hard it is to take notes on a book and you want to write something down from the book, but you can't pause the book or whatever. And let's say you don't have a bookmark. I don't really have a lot of bookmarks. And so I'd like part of the book open while I write because otherwise the book will close and I'll lose where I'm at. And that's always hard for me or whatever, or and I have to keep looking back at the quote so I can write it down, or I want to keep looking at the book back while I'm writing something down that's from the book. It's hard to have the book open with one hand. If you've ever tried to write notes with a book or whatever, you have to go back to the book and keep writing down everything. It's really hard. And so that's what a book holder does. I didn't even know these existed, but I want one of those. I want a whiteboard behind me, or at least somewhere in the room. And then I want a bookcase of all of my books because I have a couple boxes worth of books. That's going to be what takes up the second largest amount of space in my car. First amount is clothes, and then second amount is my books, and they're all in boxes. And I have about 50 books, 50 to 100 books, and I haven't read all of them all the way to through or anything. And some of them are fiction, some of them are nonfiction, a lot of them are nonfiction. And I want a bookcase to keep all those books and everything. And so that's what the thing is. I'm gonna have a bookcase, and then what I want to have is if I have like a studio apartment and there's no separate bedroom, and so it's just bedroom mixed in with the living room and the bathroom and everything and the kitchen all mixed together, then I want a room. Or if I have my own separate room, let's do with the own separate room. I have my own bedroom. What I'll have is I'll have the bed, and then I'll have a desk in a corner, and then on one side of the corner or whatever, I have the whiteboard, and then in another part of the room or next to the desk, I will have a library bookcase, a bookcase full of books, and they'll have a whiteboard on the other side, and then I'll have the desk, and that'll be like my miniature work area. And then in another corner of the room, I'll have all of my workout equipment, so my yoga mat, my kettlebell, adjustable kettlebell, and then the push-up um, bars or whatever that I use, and then I might try to get some more dumbbells and stuff like that. However, that will all be in another corner, and then and I might that'll be everything in my room, really. And then I'll have a drawer. I'll have like a closet for clothes or a drawer for next to my bed with clothes in it. And that'll be pretty much everything that I need for my room, my bedroom. And so that's how I'm gonna set up my bedroom or anything. Now, if it's in a studio apartment where there's no separation from the bedroom and the kitchen and the living room, then I'll get like little current things to hang up around my bed and around my desk, kind of create like a illusion of separation. And then I would just have the same thing. I'd have a desk with me, and then that would be a little bit away from the wall so my desk can fit in. And then behind me would be a whiteboard. And then to like the right of me, because this is in a corner, the right or left would be a bookshelf. And so then that would be a cool place to record everything. And like I said, then I have another corner for my workout. And that's how I've kind of separated my bedroom. That's how I'm gonna separate my bedroom. And I'm gonna separate my living room and kitchen if I have a studio apartment where it's all in one. But if I have like a really small just bedroom with a bathroom attached to it with a little bit of a kitchen, then I'm gonna just do it all in the bedroom. But that's like the number one recording like background. Like for me, that would be a number one recording. If I had whiteboard behind me with like all these different notes, and then I had like um a bookcase like right next to the note whiteboard or like on the wall, whichever way, that would be like really cool. And I think that would like showcase my interest the best. And that would be cool because then I could write on the whiteboard or whatever and show it to you guys, whatever it is. And I think that would be amazing is if I had that. But right now that's not it. And that'll probably cost, let's say $500 to set all that stuff up. Oh, and of course I would have a printer because not having a printer is inconvenient for me, especially since I'd be printing a lot of stuff, and I like to print a lot of stuff and read it in person, but it's really hard. But if I could do that, that would be amazing if I could print all that stuff out. And so I would be doing that, and that would be awesome. I'd also have the printer, like I said, and some paper on me, and maybe in the bookshelf I have a place for all of my journals. And I could keep a list of all of my journals and have them topics or something like that. Whatever it is. The goal with the library bookcase is completely filled up. If I could have 200 books, the best 200 books, and have them on in the library case and they're in real life, so they're physical copies, they're not, that would be amazing. Because some books I really like if a book is, but a physical copy cost me like 20 bucks. And I know I shouldn't be saying this, but you're able to pirate most books. I'm not going to say where, whatever, I don't want to get in trouble. But electronically you're able to, or you can get them on Kindle for half the price for 10 bucks or 5 bucks. However, for a physical book, it'll cost bucks minimum. And if it's a big book, it'll cost like 50 to 100. And so I want physical copies of books, but my money, what I have right now doesn't allow it. Okay, the books cost too much. And so that's the goal is to have all the books that I really find really interesting that I should go back, that I like to go back and look at for all those books on the library case in physical copy. And it's a lot easier for me. At least that's me. It's a lot easier for me to learn off of a physical book compared to a Kindle book. For entertainment, though, I like Kindle books more. And so it's kind of a mismatch. That's something new about me. You learn something new. I've shared something new with you. And so that's it for the video. I do have a question. I don't know if it's to say this. I look uglier in the recordings than I look when I actually record the videos. And I'm always kind of weirded out by that because if I record the videos, when you're recording, they show like the camera and what it's recording at the time. I look way better than when I'm done with the video and I hit pause and then I go check the actual video. I don't know why that is. That's just something new that I've been noticing. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I think I look better when I'm recording than I find still, or I'm watching the recording, whatever it is. This is like a funny video, like it's not meant to be serious at all, any of the stuff like that. And so, what else do we have to talk about? I could talk about AI, but I've talked about that a lot of that in the last video, how the advent of virtual reality and AI will completely change the world, at least the world of entertainment as I see it. And let's go into this topic. If you haven't watched the other video, this is like kind of a recap. And so, oh, sorry, my voice is getting really bad because I've been talking for 40 minutes. I'm getting better at talking for longer, so that's a good thing. So virtual reality and the AI coming age of AI will completely change entertainment because you will be able to create virtual worlds. Okay, you'll be able to create game worlds that are very immersive, that have really good graphics, only almost as good as reality, but also they'll be real. They'll be moving parts. You'll have AI NPCs, instead of ones that just answer the same question over and over again. And that's been the bottleneck, I think, for video games. Now, the problem with this right now with the NPCs, with the AIs, it's two parts. People don't know how to implement it into games yet, and these are the beginning steps for it because you have to put guardrails on these NPCs because if you create them fully autonomous, they might one day kill the guy who's the main storyline giver. This is what happens. So if you don't put guardrails on these NPCs, they could do something not stupid, just something out of the ordinary that you as a game developer didn't create the game for. So what happens is you break the game. So then 50% of content is unavailable. That's why I think long term you gotta have an AI that runs the whole game completely, and then NPCs that are completely free to do whatever. But the God NPC of the world, I would call it, is like in charge of the destiny of fate. So if some quest giver dies, you can go to another guy and get the quest, or something happens. Now, some quests will always be unavailable, but for the main quest, you know, kill a king or conquer the world or whatever, and you got to do these certain steps. If you kill someone, this quest will be given to another NPC. And it happens organically. So maybe the NPC that dies leaves a note for the NPC who's the next quest giver who takes over the quest giving, and he gets a note, and then that's how it plays out. But it's organic in the world. But that's really hard to do, and you have all these unexpected consequences from making these NPCs completely individualists who can do whatever they want. You know, and the only way to fix that is to make all NPC quest givers have really important quests immortal. But that breaks the game. And those NPCs will start to question the immortal quest giver. They'll be like, why are you still alive or whatever? We killed you. And it breaks the simulation. It breaks the game because the game is trying to be as close to real life as possible. And so the limitations of video games made it where they had to be like Skyrim, where some of the quest givers, some of the most important people you can't kill. They are immortal. You literally can't kill them unless you mod the game. And you have different mods. Like that's how much it changed. However, you can't do that in if you want a more realistic world. And that's the goal of video games is to make realistic VR video games that are intensely realistic, but they have added stuff to them. So maybe they have magic in them. But that's why books have to be entertainment. Entertainment. If you don't know, entertainment has to be an illusion, but it has to be fantastical, but it also has to be as close to real life as possible too. Otherwise, there's this divide between the two. And then people can't be immersed in your story, at least writing wise. And it's the same with video games. People can't be immersed in your game if your game's too much like fantasy. And so that's the thing. And so That's number one. But number two is these AIs to do really big NPC talking and everything. You have to run it from the cloud because these AI models, to really be real time, have to be top of the line models. They have to be multimodal. They got to be billions of parameters to be that, to talk in real life. Like if you look at, sorry, if you look at ChatGPT's, OpenAI's advanced voice model, to do that, they have to train a really big model. And what you got to realize is that can't run on the CPU on your computer, okay, unless you have a really good CPU. And to have real-time conversations, you have to have a really good CPU because real-time conversations means, the person answers in like less than like maybe 10 milliseconds or something like that. So if you ask it a question, it responds pretty fast. But you will know if you're talking to a robot because it takes like 30 seconds to answer or something. And that breaks the immersion too. And so to act like a real human, you got to be able to respond really quickly. And so to do that, you have to have really big models who are trained on that. And the problem with that is that to run those takes a lot of CPU power, and a computer can't handle it. And so, but we got to realize is there are two ways to fix this. You have a massive data center that hosts the AI, and you stream the game, that hosts the game and the AI and streams the game to millions of players. And that's why a lot of games are going to a streaming version. It's because they're getting bigger and bigger. Now, a lot of games don't need to do that, but these bigger games, these open source big games and or open world games, and the games with these NPCs have to go to streaming because you have to have a huge data center to run these games. Even just one version, let alone millions versions of it. And so you need a big data center for that, but you need powerful CPUs just to run the one game. And so that's another limitation. That's been the problem is how do you get these AIs and it makes the size of your game balloon because some of these AIs take up a ton of space, ton of memory. And so do you want a game that takes up to 10 terabytes to download and play? And can your computer even handle it? Because it's also your computer has to handle the video graphics card. You got to handle the video graphics for the actual screen of the game. And then you also have to handle the AI running on the processor. And so it'll crash your computer. And most computers, unless it's top of the line, and even those won't be able to handle a lot of AIs. And so the only AIs that can be in games right now are really small. So if we're talking truly AIs like neural nets, have to be really small ones. And so while those ones are pretty good, they're getting better. The really small, efficient ones, they're nowhere near what you need to be. And so they're nowhere near the uh the capacity to do what they need to do to be realistic. However, you got to realize something. 10 years 10 years from now, that will be completely different. What you got to realize is chip capacity, chip power, not chip power, but the processing speed and the processing ability of the small chips of the motherboard have doubled every year since the beginning of the chips, beginning of the modern chips on motherboards, all that stuff have doubled every year because there's so much demand for them. There's a ton of people who came into the market who needed chips, and the whole world runs on chips, runs on the internet. So what happened was demand needed a ton of money, needed a ton of chips, so supply came naturally. So that's why that's a law, that's Moore's law, where transistors and chips double every year. Okay. So as you can imagine, in the next 10 years, we'll be able to run these AIs that are running on the cloud right now, the newest O1 reasoning, would be able to run it on our computer. Just think of that. That's why a lot of people are waiting to go into AI. That's why a lot of companies are waiting because there's a chip shortage because Nvidia makes most of the AI chips and they've cornered the market. But over the next 10 years, But 10 years from now, that's completely different. And the chips are going to be almost worthless, or they're going to be worth $100 instead of $100,000. I'm not kidding you. Some of the CPU chips from NVIDIA cost $10,000, but in 10 years from now, they'll be $100. That's how much the depreciation of computers, of technology, how fast it is, because chip-wise doubles every year. And that's not counting the use of AI to improve chip design. And that's what NVIDIA is doing. So really, it's not squaring every year, it's quadrupling. So it's by the fourth. So if you have X, where you have X to the second power, it's now X to the fourth. That's how much computing power and processing is growing every year. And so this is what you got to realize is 10 years from now, that'll all be able to run on your computer. And then think about the games you'll be able to run. Think about the AIs. How good will the AIs be 10 years from now when you scale them up? Because that's the thing. We've found that scaling is pretty much unlimited so far. We haven't hit the limit on how much we can improve by just putting in more and more data into these models. And so maybe we'll get to the point where these models will be in a huge data center and they'll be able to run and they'll be super intelligent. So that's the goal, is to have these models that are so big that they surpass regular human intelligence. And then it's a matter of what happens is human intelligence becomes something that can be created. What I mean that you get to the point where, let's say, these AIs are as good as a regular graduate college student in physics, let's say. Well, that might cost you $100,000 to have this AI that's as smart as a physics graduate student. But what you got to realize is that's only $100,000, $1 million. But to have that in the real life, for a government to have that talent in the real life, you have to have 20 years. You have to have 10, 15 years to raise that child. They have to be intelligent enough. Their IQ has to be good enough. The environment has to be good enough. They got to be fed well. They have to meet all the development milestones. They have to have good grades in high school. They have to get into college. They have to pass all the college classes. That's how rare scientists are, in a worldwide, on the basis of population, okay? On the basis of the population of the USA, how many people become graduate science students who go to become scientists, professional scientists that work in a college lab doing breakthroughs? And this is just the regular guy. You know how much that costs to train someone in economic terms and have someone grow up like that? But now the government can spend $1 million, $100,000, even $100 million, and you can train one of those. Money is nothing for governments. That's what you got to realize. Governments can print money out of thin air, especially the US. So we have one that costs $1 million. Let's print 1 billion of them. We've just increased our science capacity, our scientists, by 1 billion. 1 billion. More than our actual population. And all of these AIs can work together. And so even if they're not as good as regular scientists, if they're 50% good, we can just stack the numbers. We maybe have a max of 1 million scientists in the USA. How many, whatever. If the AIs are only 50% as good of them, just stack it. Just make 1 million of them. Make 5 million instead of 1 million. So we have 1 million human scientists. The AIs are 50% as good as regular scientists. Let's make 2 million AIs, and now we've just doubled our science capacity. What if we take this further? Like I said, there's no limit on what a government can spend. And what you got to also realize is a government can take risks. They can say, I'm going to take out trillions of dollars. Let's say they say, I'm going to spend $10 trillion on this, the biggest investment by a government and biggest investor of all of time. I'm going to spend that much money. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to double our scientific capacity, triple our scientific capacity. Why? Because they're taking a risk. Yeah, they might take on a ton of debt, trillions of dollars in debt. But what they can do is, well, we just need our new science base. We just doubled or tripled it. We just need them to make a new technology. All these AIs, if every one of them just makes a new technology, barely increments, we'll have a completely new breakthrough technology, a breakthrough military. It's like how we used to not have drones in the military. You know how drones became military technology, and now they're using drone swarms and everything, and people are trying to do drone swarms. If it costs trillions of dollars, and then we'd be able to create technologies that are like the drone swarms, like we could create a quantum computer, it'd be worth all the money in the world in the eyes of these governments. In the eyes of the US, it would be a safe bet. It would be the bet of a millennial. It would be the bet of 1,000 years, but it would be a bet that would be worth taking. It's like us going to the space, going to moon. They went to the moon to create an enemy of um, of Russia, of the USSR, but also to motivate the American people. And JFK took advantage of that and used the space race to gain popularity. It was worthwhile to the American people to spend billions of dollars to accelerate our technology past the limits and send rockets in the 1900s because it was worth it. The 1980s, 1950s, 60s, 70s, whatever it is, because it was worth it. And we accelerated the technology and we did something that cost billions of dollars and was not economically viable back then to send people to the moon, but we did it for that purpose. And you know what? This purpose is way more economically valuable because we sent people to the moon, but in real hard terms of power and money that we got from it and resources, we didn't get any money from it because we didn't have the technology for it. It was for more political power. It was to motivate the American people, show that they could do this and everything, to build a wonder of the next wonder of the world, whatever the next experience of the wonder of the world, and to show the world and everything and show off our power. However, that never provided resources in real term values. Like now we got to know more about the moon, but that's it. But the having a million extra scientists is completely different. Completely different. And so that's why people will say, well, that's the singularity. That is the version of the singularity. Even if these AIs are only 50% good at science, you can just stack them. And then you have billions of them and all working together. And so that's the third part of my rant. But just know that AI plus virtual reality, or not even virtual reality, but meta reality, whatever you call it, where it overlaps over the real world, um, instead of full dive virtual reality on a headset, whatever it is, just know it's going to completely change the world in the next 10 years. And that's why all these goals are long term. What you got to realize also is I don't have a 20 or 30-year goal. That's the thing. I don't have a 20, 30-year old goal because it's hard to plan out that far into the future because there's all different types of variables. But number one, number two, that's number one. But number two, the biggest one is there's the biggest variable of all, which is AI. If you just took AI right now and you decrease the cost by 100x. So the cost to run an AI instead of being 100,000 a year is $100 a year. That would completely change the world. Why? Because you could just have millions of them. Instead of just having one big AI, let's say you reach the limit of scales. So now you have a really big AI, you have really big AI. However, it's really cheap, but that's the limit. What you have to do is just build millions of them and have them all work together. And then it's like you have a separate society. Now that society might have less IQ than us. Instead of being IQ average of 90, maybe it's 50 or whatever. However, you all put those people together. And I don't like to use IQ because IQ score, people are like, well, an IQ of 50 is retarded. You can't do anything. And so, but just think about it. If they can do stuff that a human can do at 50% accuracy. What if you have billions of them all working together? Maybe you only have a million. It's like having a million extra workers. And yeah, they're not as good as extra workers, human workers. And so maybe they're in real terms only good as 100,000 workers. But now the limit of is no longer talent because it's really hard to have talent wise. And it costs a lot to hire someone and everything. But what if you can hire 1 million AIs that are 50% as good as humans for $100,000. That would completely change the game of business. Whoever did that first would make a ton of money, then everyone would flood into it, and then it would become normal for you to use a ton of AIs, and you would have to be competitive in business. And so that's just got what you got to realize is have the goal 10 years. The only thing you can change is yourself in the next 10 years. So start developing these skills and then you develop these skills and then that allows you to have some ability to make money in the future because you build a community who follow you for you. It's not about the painting, the writing, whatever you're doing. They follow you for you because they get to know you, they like you, they're willing to donate money for you to support you. And so that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. And so that's what the Mastery Guild is about. So that's it for the video. It's been an hour. This was just a relaxed video talking about stuff and everything. I hope you're well. I always wish the people the best because this is a channel about positivity. Okay, I will be brutally honest on some things, on your health. Like if you're too fat, you're too fat. Like just accept that. There's something wrong with that, but you don't have to be angry and sad and you can't be like, oh, you're fat shaming or anything. It's the truth. And you're gonna have to deal with side effects of health problems because of that. And that's it. But I'm never gonna shame people for what they can and can't do. I shame people on the things that they can't control. And so you have things on your control. Most things in your life are under your control. You got to realize that. If you have, I've seen a video of a guy on YouTube who works in McDonald's and he has an IQ of like 80. He's like almost mentally retarded, but he can still speak normally or whatever. But if you give him any complex task, he can't do a job. And with today's society, where most jobs you have to have a certain IQ, otherwise it'll be really hard to get jobs. Like if you're doing anything complex, he can't do. And he celebrates working at McDonald's. He got a job at McDonald's. And for a guy like him who has a lower IQ or whatever, that's okay. But he makes a channel about it. He talks about his journey, how he's doing stuff and everything, what his life is like and everything. And that's enough money. He makes enough money probably to support himself. And that gives him a little bit of financial freedom, even just a little bit more money on top of his McDonald's stuff. He's trying the hardest he can, and he's documenting his growth. So I don't shame people if they're not growing like that's all the thing. That's my channel is I'm bringing a positive message to the world. I think you should be growing in some version of your life. Don't be a zombie just walking through your life. If you have problems in your life, solve them by improving whatever it is. If you're not good at writing and you want to get better at writing, write. That's all I have to say. And then I won't if you're even if you're really bad, as long as you're taking that journey. And it doesn't have to be a lot of time a day. It can be 1 hour a day. If you can use 1 hour a day to develop yourself in whatever parts of your life, I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be happy. And so that's the goal of this channel is to put you on that path if you're not already on the path, or to motivate you if you're already on the path, or if you want a buddy on the path, I'm on the way with you. And then we'll all rise up, we'll all bring each other together up further in the ladder and, better in life. Because what you got to realize is with the mastery of a skill, you can make money from it. You can, and with that money, you have more opportunities. You can eat better. You can feel better. You have more time. And so that's the basic thing is not to just use this money for your hobby and then just quit at improving yourself or any of that. No, improving yourself is a long-term journey. And then, of course, it's until you die. And then when you die, you die. But I think you just take 10 years of accumulation and you've completely changed your life. And so like that's why I recommend like that guy makes a video about his life and how his life, isn't the best. I saw a video about a guy who said he wasn't the best looking. And he wasn't I wouldn't I don't want to be mean or whatever, but he talked about, and this was a famous video about how he's ugly and everything and no one likes him. And then someone in the comments was like, I think you're cute or whatever. And then he ended up dating that girl or whatever. And he had never dated anyone in his life. And he was like, I'm so ugly and everything. And he had made a video or whatever. And some girl found him cute. And so it's the same way. You have any problems in your life, just document your life. If you're not improving on your life, document your life. If you hate your life, try improving something in your life and document it and just do that. Or maybe you're researching things, something documented. Like provide value to the world and just throw it out to the world. And eventually the world will come back to you and give you something. That's what manifesting thing is. Like that's pretty much what the term is, but really in my mind is you give value to the world and then the world gives something back to you. Now it might take time and you might not like what it gives back to you because, maybe it's an opportunity for you, but you have to change your life for it. Maybe you have to move into another city for that opportunity. Maybe a job that offers get to learn from someone who's awesome and who's a leader who you admire, but you got to move across state, or maybe you have to take a pay cut or whatever. Whatever it is, just throw something out to the void and you'll get something back. And that's what I'm happy about. I've gotten 33 subscribers. 33 people find value at one point in time from my channel. Maybe not anymore, but they did enough to subscribe at that one point. So that's it for the video today. Have a fantastic day. I gotta end the video. I thought this would be a short, sweet and cook, sweet. I'm trying to work on that short and sweet video, but it wasn't. So that's it. I gotta go. The library is about to close in 30 minutes. That's it for the day. Have a fantastic day. I never want to push people, and say I hate them or you suck or anything. I'm never gonna say that. I'm just gonna be positive. I can believe you can do it. If you're on the path to anything in life that you're growing as you're growing as a person, I think you're doing a good job. The Chinese have a famous saying, don't be afraid, be afraid of not moving at all. And that is an amazing quote because if you're moving on that path towards whatever it is, you're better than majority of people. You know, don't be the still person. I don't care how slow you're moving. If you're losing weight, you're only losing a pound each week, or maybe you're losing 5 pounds a month, or maybe even 2 pounds a month. You're slowly getting there. It might take you a long time, but you're getting there. And that's all that I ask of you is getting somewhere in your life and a better for you. I'm your guy, I'm your brother, whatever it is. I'm your brother. I want the best for you. Whatever it is, you can do it. I want the best in you. And so that's it for the video. Tell me about demographics, who you are. My video, the question of the day, the second question, I think, second question, I don't remember. Second question. Who are you? What do you like? And I want to know more about you. So, if you're a person watching this video, you watch the end, you're a super fan. You watch the end of this video. Most people watch the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and like, what? I gotta get better at that. But you're the first one. You are the person to watch the end of the video. Your attention span is really good. Maybe you put on the video while you're sweeping and mopping. Whatever it is, you're doing chores. Thank you for watching to the end. You gotten to the end. You're a super fan, so just put in the comments, who are you? Just put in your name and your age. Or you can use a synonym. That's fine. You don't have to put your name. I don't want to pressure you into your name. Just say how old you are. You can and what your gender is, male, female, and then just say what are you doing to grow your life? Or maybe what's the circumstances in your life? So are you moving recently? Are you just have you had a job for 10 years? Whatever it is about your life. What are you trying to improve in your life? So for me, I would put I'm Tyler Van Jordan, or I could put I'm Skater 55, 67, whatever. I always use Skater as a username when I want to be anonymous. I don't know why I've never skated before. I think I know I did skateboard once in college with my friends who taught me a little bit, or my roommates. They weren't really friends, but they were roommates. And so mine would be Tyler Van Jordan. I'm a male. I'm 23. I live in Florida, but I'm about to move to North Carolina, or I live in North Carolina if I'm posting at that time, or I want to say I'm moving to a new place, new opportunities with more risk involved, of course. And right now, I am trying to improve my writing, or maybe I'm trying to start a business or something like that. And then put a question to me, whatever it is. That's it for the video. That's my action step. Write your name or your username, whichever one. Or if you're not, if you're gonna do anonymous, just use your YouTube username. That's a random thing, and just say, I'm how many old. I just want to get demographics for my loyal fans because you watched to the end. Maybe you skipped to the end, whatever it is. For my really super fans who watched the whole video, I just want to know like who you are or stuff about you. Maybe an interesting fact, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be what I said. Just something interesting about yourself. And then a question back to me. And so that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. I believe in you. Grow as a person. Come along with the journey with me. I'll take you there. I'll be your leader. I'll be the man lighting the way for you with my candle and a sword in my hand or a wand in my hand if I'm a magic user. I'll go into the cave. I'm fighting or whatever. We're going into the cave together. Me and a group of other people, and I'm Gandalf. I have the light in my hand. Even though I'm a wizard, I can't light with magic. I got to use a torch, and then I have a sword in my hand. You know, whatever it is, I'll light the way for you on the pathwise. And that's it for the video. That's it. That was my quick thing. I don't know why I said I'm like Gandalf with the wizard. I've never watched all of the movies for the Middle Earth series or whatever, Tolkien's series, and I've never read the books, so I just know Gandalf and everything, and I remember him like dying or whatever, killing the demon or whatever. Maybe you know more about Lord of the Rings. That's what it is, Lord of the Rings. But that's it. I'll be Gandalf for you. Eventually I will have to die though, because the magician, that's the archetype. The magician, the teacher always has to die or leave for the character to grow, at least in stories. That's why Dumbledore dies. Otherwise he's Harry Potter's crutch or whatever, and he's all the students' crutches, and so he has to die. And so I'll light the way, but eventually I'll have to leave, and you got to go on your own and have your own path. But until then, I'll carry you on, and I'll protect you from the Balgog or whatever that demon was called, like in Lord of the Rings or whatever. I'll protect you from Voldemort for a little bit if you're talking about Dumbledore. That's it for the day. Have a fantastic day. I can't believe I did that for the exit intro. I don't know, but that's it. Goodbye.